In this video, we're going to be discussing Rabbi Simcha of Vitry, Rabbi Simcha ben Shmuel of Vitry, the author of the Machzor Vitry, and very important work on the Siddur, or it is a Siddur. Rabbi Simcha, the son of Shmuel, was born approximately the year 1040 and passed away approximately the year 1105, which would put him at a very similar, almost exact same years of birth and passing as Rashi. However, some people want to say that this is incorrect, and he actually lived longer than Rashi. He might have been younger than Rashi. Whatever the case is, he was definitely a student of Rashi. Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, who we discussed in the previous video. And just for context, Rashi lived in Troy, in the English pronunciation, in France. And Vitry is a city in France where Rabbi Simcha was the rabbi. That is approximately 70 kilometers from Troyes. So it makes sense that they could be in communication with each other, etc. He later, I don't know if it was in his lifetime or meaning the lifetime of Rashi and Rabbi Simcha, but later his son married Rashi's granddaughter. Rashi only had daughters; he did not have any sons, famously. And one of his daughters, married Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir had two very famous sons, Rabbi Notam and Rashbam. That's Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Shmuel. And they had a sister who married the son of Rabbi Simcha of Vitry, and they had a son who became known as Rabbi Yitzchak of Demonpur. I don't know if I said that correctly, but essentially Rabbi Yitzchak becomes known as the Ri Hagadol, the Great Ri, and he is one of the most prominently featured rabbis of the Tosafos, the rabbis who commented on Rashi essentially and his understanding of the Talmud, which can be found on the outer part of the page of the Talmud, and you'll see many times V'aymer Ri, and Rabbi Yitzchak says, so he is very, very much mentioned. So he was a grandson of Rabbi Simcha, and as well as a great grandson of Rashi. So their families eventually came together. Again, I'm not sure if that happened during their lifetime or not. Just as for context, the Rabbi Shneur Zaman of Liadi, the Alter Rebbe, mentions somewhere in one of his Hasidic discourses that true intellect you could see by the Ri. So we see how great of a person he was just from that comment alone. The Rabbi Simcha is mainly known for his Machzor Vitry, the Machzor, which means the prayer book of Vitry. The Machzor Vitry was in manuscript for many, many years. It is mentioned by Rabbi Notam, as we mentioned his mechutan, I guess you could say. They were related through marriage. So they mentioned the Rabbi Simcha of Vitry's Machzor. His Machzor is based on the Siddur of Rav Amram and the Baal Halachas Gedolos and others. And he compiled many prayers, and he also put laws, very important laws that had to do with the prayer. Until today, these are quoted. The Machzor Vitry is quoted as an important source, early source for many prayers and customs that became mostly accustomed through Ashkenaz, through the German, French lands, eventually when those Jews moved to Poland, and then Russia and other parts of Eastern Europe. So all those, a lot of customs can be traced back to the Machzor Vitry. Now, however, the Machzor Vitry, as we mentioned, Rabbi Simcha, lived in the 1st and 2nd century. The 11th and 12th century. I apologize. And the Machzor Vitry was not printed until about 1891. I saw maybe there was a version printed in 1886. Either way, around then, not till the late 19th century, do we see the Machzor Vitry put into print. So until then, it was a manuscript. And this is something we mentioned about the Siddur of Rav Amram in the previous video, that people basically added their versions of the Machzor or the Siddur. They made it based on their local custom. For example, just something I came across in my research was on Shabbos, there's a debate about what do you say in the Kedusha of Shabbos. So during the repetition of the Amidah, we say Kedusha. Some people say on the Musaf of Shabbos, some people say Nakdishach, and some people say keser. Okay, it's a different version. I'm not going to get into the debate of that, how that went, and how that historically that debate has been framed. We'll leave that for another time. But there's this debate. So when I was looking, I was like, okay, let's see who's saying what. And I look, and one of the sources for it is the Machzor Vitry. And I was very surprised because the Ashkenazi siddurs generally do not have it listed as keser. So I was very surprised that why would the Ashkenazi custom, be be contrary to the Machzor Vitry. Turns out there are some versions of Machzor Vitry that have it the other way. So obviously, people took the Machzor Vitry and edited it based on their local custom. So it's very hard to tell, really what is the true version of Machzor Vitry. Again, it was not printed, which means, kind of canonized as far as like this is the real deal until the late, almost, 800, 900 years later. So it's very, very hard to know what's the true nusach, the true version of the Machzor Vitry. In addition, in his generation, in manuscript, there were additions made. For example, anytime it has the word the letter tuf, which stands for tosfos, which means additions, literally they were put in, and it's by a rabbi named Isaac ben Dorbolo. He writes, sometimes he'll write tuf and he'll put in his version, his addition, and sometimes he'll say, until here is Machzor Vitry, and this is Rabbi Isaac ben Dorbolo. This is my version. Okay. Additionally, there are additions of it'll say Aleph Beis Nun, which stands for Avram ben Nassan, and Avram ben Nassan, also a very, very famous rabbi of that era, also put additions. In addition to that, there is a commentary in Pirkei Avos. We know that on Shabbos between which we are currently right now, with Shabbosim between after Mincha, between Pesach and Shavuos, the custom is to say Pirkei Avos. Some people say it throughout the entire summer months. So it's printed in the Siddur, the Pirkei Avos, the Mishnah of Ethics of Our Fathers. And there's a commentary on there. However, the commentary is not of Rabbi Simcha. It is a commentary of Yaakov ben Shamshin, who was another student of Rashi. So it's not so clear what is his, what is not his, and what survived. Manuscripts, again, there are manuscripts, extant manuscripts. You could look online. You could actually read some of them. It's hard to read pictures of manuscripts, but you could actually see the manuscripts, and there are different versions, and you could look in printed. There are printed versions of the Machzor Vitry as well that discuss these different things. So there's a lot of scholarship trying to figure out what is the Machzor Vitry as far as the nusach. But however, the halachas and other things have definitely been traced back to Rabbi Simcha of Virty, and again, a very important person in the history of the building of the siddur that we have today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, please put in the comment section. We appreciate it. You could like and subscribe. It helps us with these videos. And we will see you, God willing, in the next one.